What's up, everybody, and welcome back to my channel. My name is McCloud. I'm a Georgia-based professional makeup artist, and today we are going to be discussing all about the base. We're not going to focus too much on the products, but more so how do we apply these products and the proper techniques to achieve a flawless and long-lasting base. Forget to subscribe to the channel, give the video a big thumbs up, click that bell so that you're notified of all my future uploads, and leave some comments down below because we just gonna keep chatting it up in the comments, y'all. Without further ado, let's get started. All right, so let's get started with this fast. The very first thing that you should be doing before you even put on anything on your face, any makeup, skin prep. Now, I have my video. Check it out in the description box because I haven't figured out how to link it in the video yet. We're gonna get there, but make sure you have checked out that video where I go into in-depth about skin prep and why prepping your skin is essential and to have an extended long wear, flawless, healthy looking makeup. Go into primers. Now, I don't think primers are always needed. I typically don't prime my client's skin because I do take the time in prepping their skin with the skin prep. I only typically will use a primer if there is a problem area that I just want to have a little bit more correction in it. So I like using either a blurring primer, a smoothing primer to help smooth out any fine lines, any wrinkles, any large pores, just to make sure that that is kind of diminished some. Or if we want a longer lasting base, like let's say in the summer where people do their makeup, I like having a gripping primer so it can help with just the makeup adhering even more to the primer and the skin prep rather than sitting right on top of the skin. I have the Secure the Blur Magnet Primer. So this primer is an ultra blurring pore refining primer. So it's gonna help with mattifying and even out any skin texture onto the skin. And it also grips onto the makeup to have a flawless application and enhance the wear of your makeup application. And I just take a little bit of this. It has niacinamide in it, which niacinamide is great if you have texture on your skin. So I like to put this in the areas that I like to be blurred. So that's my nose, my mouth, my upper lip, my chin, and the middle of my forehead. Especially where I have trouble spots, like where I may have a breakout due to hormonal issues. I like that to look blurred. I don't like a matte look whenever I do my foundation, but I do like certain areas of my face to look smoother than the rest. Now, before I put on my foundation, I'm actually going to color correct a little bit. So color corrector is great in assisting with having an even base. So if you have some dark spots, red spots, hyperpigmentation, anything like even blemishes that may need covering, your color corrector can assist with that. And see, what the orange is going to do is cancel out any of the darkness. Your red is going to cancel out your green. Your yellow and your purple are going to cancel out each other. What else? You got your peach and your pink tones, which also help with any darkness under. It's just those are assistive to other skin types or skin tones, lighter than myself. So I like using the orange. And this one is from e.l.f. It's their Camo color corrector. Cover these spots right here. I got a spot on my mouth. My mouth gets really dark sometimes too. Blemish spots on my forehead. I wish I had a hair clip. My hair. Speaking of my hair, do we like this style? Because I love it. Well, I got this little setting brush here. And I'm actually going to blend that out. So I'm just going to tap it in. Instead of like blending it out, I just want to tap it in and keep it in that area. I think that is blended in very well. We can see it kind of, especially on my forehead, I can tell a lot. It evened it out a whole lot more. So that is the great effect of a color corrector. Now I'm going to jump right into foundation. So the foundation I'm using today is the e.l.f. Soft Glam Satin Foundation. Love this foundation. I love a satin finish foundation. Typically with some satin foundations, they contain so many great skincare products. Hibiscus complex, hyaluronic acid, all these hydrating things that are just perfect for dry skin, but pretty much it's perfect for all skin types because we all need that balance of hydration and moisture. So I have it in the shade 50 Deep Warm. Now, this shade probably would look great in the summer, but it looks awful in the winter. So what I actually do is cancel out some of that orangeness in it by taking a blue color corrector. And this corrector, again, is going to cancel out any of that orange or that warmth in it. So I'm going to take a little bit more onto my plate because I did use some previously to carve out my brows, the top of my brows. And then I'm going to take some blue pigment. But I just will mix that in within my plate. See? Still a little warm, so we're just gonna go add a little bit of blue. You don't need to be adding so much because if you add too much, it's gonna make it look gray because you done canceled out the orange a little too much. So just go little by little. So taking my foundation, this is not a foundation brush, this is a paintbrush from Michaels. Here's a trick, here's a tip for y'all. If you are a makeup artist and you want some good brushes, especially concealer brushes or foundation brushes, paint brushes are amazing. And you get them from Hobby Lobby, you can get them from Michaels. They're amazing. I've had this one for some years and it still is lasting. It has outlasted a lot of my other makeup brushes. So, all right, so we're gonna paint this on. So literally I painted onto the skin like it's paint. And see, the other thing about this foundation, which by the way, I did review it when it came out some years ago. You still could go look at that video. Thank you. The great thing about this foundation is the coverage, is the finish. The coverage is nice. It's so soft and hydrating on the skin. Like, it's just so beautiful. And it's affordable. I use this a lot on my clients. We layer that onto the skin. So this key product right here, it helps a lot with adding back the hydration into my skin, with setting the foundation well, helping me with blend it, and it's the Morphe Continuous Mist. Now, I love this stuff. This mist helps with setting any liquid or makeup or powder, makeup to help with a radiant finish. This is what helps with making the makeup look skin-like. So you can spray it on across your face, but I spray it on my brush and then I go in, I let it dry down a little bit, maybe fan it out some. Go with my foundation brush. This is the Instapot face brush from Real Techniques, and we just mix that in. So what I did with the foundation brush, and you could use a brush, you could use a sponge, it is totally up to your preference. With me using or incorporating the setting mist, it helps with keeping it a skin-like finish. But if you don't want to do that and have more of a fuller coverage, I do recommend getting a more fuller coverage foundation. But I prefer my foundation to look soft, to look skin-like. That's my preference, and I just love it, okay? So I do like using a brush. I've become a brush girl whenever it comes to blending out my foundation or blending out concealers or blending out any liquid or powder product. I think a brush, it's easier to use. I do like using a sponge sometimes. If you are going to use a sponge, you can damp it up to pick up any excess product on it so you won't have it so heavily onto the skin. And I think a sponge helps with soaking up the excess product and giving you also that skin-like finish. But I have found that brushes are just easier to use in my opinion. And I especially love this one from Real Techniques. When it comes to using a brush, you saw what I did there. I layered on the foundation first and then I went in and blended it out. And I only did tapping motions. I don't like the swiping. When you are stamping it into the skin or using tapping motions, it's ensuring that you get that coverage evenly. When you're swiping it, you can still see some of the swipe from time. Now, there are certain brushes that help with not doing that. But I like the stamping. I like the actual building up the coverage and giving that even distribution. Another trick that you can use, you can even go in, if you have a little plate or the back of your hand, you can build up the foundation into the brush. I'm gonna do it for you now. Build it up into the brush. There is some on the brush. Or you could go in and build it up on the face as well. So let's say you needed a little extra coverage. You need to cover a little dark spot a little bit more. You go back into your plate and tap that back into the skin. Now we're gonna move on to something that I've been practicing for a while, and I just love the way it looks on me, on clients. It's a technique that I just love, and that is actually doing my bronzer and my blush and then save my concealer for last. The placement of that is just so gorgeous to me. What I'm gonna use for bronzer, because I don't contour. Contour is where you use a gray tone shade. Bronzer is more of a warm shade. I do have a round face. And the bronzer is the closest thing that I'm gonna get to having like any shape into the face. I think your bronzer can assist too with giving you that definition that you may want, like in the cheeks or in the nose. But I love a good bronzer. But this isn't a bronzer technically. This is a foundation stick. So with your bronzer, it's basically going to be about 2 to 3 tones darker than your skin tone anyway. So you don't have to use a liquid bronzer or a cream bronzer. You can use a dark foundation. You can use a darker concealer. You don't have to go buy everything just to use the product. You know, you can use what you have and make use of that. So this is the Essence foundation stick. It's in the shade 280. I'm taking on this brush here. Told you, this, we're gonna keep using it. I'm gonna spray down my brush, fan it out some, the product onto the brush. So I'm gonna go directly onto the foundation stick. There we go. By the way, this foundation stick, $6.99. And the coverage of it, immaculate. It's from Essence Cosmetics. I got it from Ulta, by the way. All right, so I like the bronze on the forehead and along my cheeks. Taking this brush. Now, this brush came from Shein, actually. And do you see the contour or the shape of the brush? So this is perfect for that cheek area. So I like using these brushes to blend out my bronzer and also to apply a blush. So it's perfect along the cheeks. So I'm actually gonna go above this little line right here. So if you suck in your cheeks, typically that's what they recommend that you contour. Or not contour, we're bronzing. The point of bronzing is to add warmth in the areas where the sun naturally reflects off the skin. So I like to go a little above that. And just strictly stay along the perimeters of it. And you see here how it still can give you some sort of shape and definition even when you're bronzing. I go along the temple there, and now we're gonna go on the forehead. And see, with this foundation stick, it's so natural. It has such a natural looking finish to it, but it also contains a lot of coverage in it. It's very creamy, so it's very easy to blend out. And that's why I really like it. I do have contour sticks, bronzer sticks, and sometimes they dry out. I'm gonna take a little bit and we're gonna go along the nose. I'm actually gonna wipe off any excess on the back of my hand. So I like to go along the bridge of the nose here. But I also like to follow the shape that I had already created with the shadows. That's why I do it a lot. When I apply my shadows, is I'll go down the bridge of my nose. And go along the tip. You probably can't tell, but it's a little bit. Just a little bit. Ain't it? It's so freaking cute. We're gonna move on to blush. And so I'm gonna use the same brush. Yes, I am. So blush, I am going to use e.l.f.'s Camo blush. Like I said, I like to do my bronzer, my blush, and then I save my concealer for last. I like the placement of that. I feel like it's faster. I don't know, maybe it's a mind trick, but I do think it's faster with the application, especially with doing it on myself and then trying it out on clients. It's just something about it. It goes by faster. So the colors that I have are Gorg Orange and Copper Etiquette. So I like mixing these two because they give me a peach vibe. Now, I would like to get brand new blushes just to try something out, but I don't know. I really don't like to purchase products until I run out of the products that I have. I don't know. Just trying not to overspend this year. Yeah, I understand how to buy makeup and all that, but is it gone? I don't know. I get it. Well, I'm just talking. I'm just expressing myself. Blush is just giving you back. Sometimes we have a natural blush into our cheeks and all that, especially if we get flushed or if we get a little nervous around the person that we like and whatnot. We sometimes have that natural look into our cheeks. Some people don't like blush, and I think you're insane. personally. My black girls out there, my brown skin girls, I love orange blush on this. I do. I love berry shade blushes. I love purple blushes. I love peach blushes on this because it looks so gorgeous on our natural skin tone. So that's why I took these two shades here to give me that peachy tone look that I so crave. I'm gonna take that and I'm actually gonna put that at the highest point of my cheeks because I do like, because I have a round face, I like it to look lifted. My face is already lifted, especially with these high cheeks of mine. So I like to make them look a little higher. So we're gonna put the blush right on top of the highest point. So these are your cheeks right here. That's the apple of your cheek. The highest point is right around here. So we're gonna put it right there. And I also like to put it a little bit under the eyes too. That is something I do like. Okay, I do like when the blush goes under the eyes, when you bring it in under the eyes and it blends in with the concealer. I think that is so gorgeous. And if you're worried about using too much blush, just go in with a little bit at a time. These blushes from e.l.f. are pigmented, but they do themselves out. They shear themselves out some. So you don't have to worry about applying too much because they will go away. And if it's too much and you put on too much, go back in with your foundation brush, go back in with that bronzer brush. Don't put any more product on it, but just work on blending the products into each other. And I'll show you that a little bit later. Blend that out at the top of the cheeks, at the highest point of the cheek, and go a little bit under the eyes as well. And I do like to bring it out to the temple too. Cause I like when I turn to the side of my face, you can see the blush. That same technique I taught y'all with putting the foundation, dipping your foundation brush into your palette, into the product, you can do the same thing with your blush. If you disperse some of your bronzer, you can do the same thing with that. Just building it up. I also like to match my blush to my eye look. Look, I get pink blush is cute, but pink blush doesn't look good with every eye look on the tip of my nose because I think it looks good. And I even put a little bit on the forehead. I like my blush to be blended into my bronzer. All right, y'all, so I'm back after applying the concealer. So now we're gonna do the powder. Powder I'm using today is the One Size Translucent Powder. This powder, I have been wanting to try it for so long. I finally got my chance to go to Sephora, and you know I bought the miniature one because I don't buy the big things. Because if I haven't tried anything, I don't buy a big thing of it. So before you put down your translucent powder, your setting powder, no matter what shade it comes in, make sure that the concealer where you place it, which I place my concealer now under my eyes and on my forehead. I don't like it on the cupid's bow and I don't like it on the chin. I just like all the highlighting and the bronzing and the blush to occur from here up. We're not gonna worry about the bottom of the face. We're just gonna even that out with color corrector and foundation, okay? That's what I like now. So make sure that your concealer has been blended out properly. So go back in with your setting brush, which I do use a brush now to blend out the concealer. It helps with giving off that good coverage. It's lightweight, and it feels a tad bit more easier to use a brush compared to a damp sponge. Cause I gotta get up, I gotta go wet it, then I gotta come back, wait for it to kind of dry a little bit, then I gotta go in. And two, sometimes using that damp sponge takes away all that work I put in place of putting these complexion products on. So that's why with a brush, you can get a little bit more coverage, but keeping your coverage as well. I like to apply my powders using a powder puff. So go into your powder and you want to even that out in the back of your hand like so. Now I'm gonna look up, stretch my eye out some. I made sure that it was blended, and now I'm gonna set it. I do like to go on the sides of the nose, but set everywhere that you put that concealer. And we are gonna go back in and use that same powder to do a light setting of the rest of my face, especially where the foundation is. But I'm gonna set the bronzer and the blush with a powder bronzer and a powder blush. Look at that. Yeah, that's cute. It's so smooth. It is so smooth. I wasn't sure if I was gonna like this powder, but I don't know. I kept seeing other people. I saw it getting promoted once on Instagram, and I said, I don't know. I was debating. It was between this one and the Huda Beauty. I used Huda Beauty at my wedding, actually. One of my bridesmaids let me hold hers, and that held well. But I wanted to try one size first. All right, doing the other eye. And you just stamp that all in. And I do like to go like on the sides of the nose. That's my way of contouring my nose. I don't do, you know, a concealer down the middle of the nose and shortening it or putting the little lines on the side. I just put bronzer all over my nose, and then I put the concealer on the sides of the nose here under the eyes, blend that out, and then when I set the powder, especially using a triangular shaped powder puff, which love powder puffs, you can really get in between that area right here on the sides of the bridge of the nose. All right, I did put concealer on my forehead, so we're gonna set that area. Now pay attention to this. Pay attention now, pay attention. You see, do you see what I mean? Do you see what I mean? Oh, it's beautiful. It's scary of the technology of this powder. And I only use translucent powder. I don't use a baking powder. I don't use a finishing powder. I don't use a pressed powder. I just use a setting powder. I don't like all those powders on myself. It's enough with all these other makeup products. Now I gotta put everything else on. No, I don't like all that, especially as somebody with dry skin. All right, using that same powder, and I'm just setting my foundation. Typically on the bottom of my face and around my mouth and my nose. I do like to set that area. All right, so anytime you use something liquid or anytime you use something cream, you do want to make sure that you set it. So the same way that we set the concealer with a powder, you need to set your cream bronzer, your liquid blush, whichever formulation that you're using, with a powder formulation. So I'm using Juvia's Places bronzer in the shade Tan, and I'm just taking both of these shades here. I'm gonna go over the bronzer in the same areas that we have put the foundation stick, actually, and we're just gonna set that. Stamp like this, but blend it out some too. I like using this fur shade, kind of like a powder, face powder, and I like to put that on my foundation too, because it matches it so well. And I will go over where I put the translucent powder on the concealer areas. Just helps it blend better. I'm gonna use NYX Buttermelts blush in the shade Feeling Butter. You're gonna put it in the apple. Sorry, I don't know why I do that. Highest point of the cheeks, and I do swipe it some on the apple of my cheeks. Still cute, still very much cute. It's still a pretty color. It's just sometimes that shimmer just it gets to me sometimes. We have completed all of the powders. We've done all the creams. We've done all the liquids. So now we done lock all that in, and that's where this continuous setting mist is really gonna come into work. So this not only sets your liquids, but it also sets your powders. So I'm gonna cover my eyes and my brows because I don't want those to be set, because I technically already set those. I just want it on my face. So you're gonna cover this area, and we're gonna spray the forehead. All right. Now I'm gonna spray the bottom of my face. Do like a little sweep. we're a little dewy. Take your fan, or you can fan it off with your hand. And you're really gonna lock that in by letting it dry. I am gonna take my powder puff and just ensure that everything has been pressed within. Gorgeous. Straight up gorgeous. Gorgeous. And set my entire face. And I'm actually going to use the L'Oreal Infallible 3-second setting mist. So these both are setting mists technically. I don't consider this a setting mist. I consider this a setting spray. And the difference between a mist and a spray, with the mist, is locking in your liquids and your powders. It's giving you that radiant finish. It's making sure that everything is melted into the face, okay? With the setting spray, and this is why I don't think this is a mist, because it's doing none of that. This is locking in the complete look. And even on the back of it, our first setting spray that makes your makeup defy transfer, locks in makeup, wear up to 36 hours. It's sweat proof, waterproof, clothes resistant, smudge resistant, and phone resistant. So for them to put setting mist on that can kind of be misleading if you didn't know what the product was. And plus, one of the main products in this, anyway, it's alcohol in this. Okay, it's alcohol in this. So this is a setting spray. Your sprays are gonna lock in your makeup and help you with not transferring it on clothes, on your phone, on anything, any product, any item around you. Okay, and typically with your setting sprays, which that's the other thing too, it gives you a time of how long it can last, and this is supposedly gonna last for 36 hours. I don't wear makeup that long. Like, sleep, I'm about to take a few pictures now and take this off. So, and even if I do wear makeup long, it's never 36 hours. If you're wearing your makeup for 36 hours straight, I don't know. Do you travel for a living? Like, I don't know. I don't recommend you do that. I really don't. I recommend you properly take that makeup off. But anyway, we're gonna take this and we're locking the whole entire face. Woo, it stank. Woo, that's it. Now, I think the cool thing about this spray is although it locks it in, I still see that radiance within. And I think it has something to do whenever I use this. When I combine these two, pretty much when I put this with any setting spray of mine, I still can lock in that radiance within my skin and have that natural glow within it. All right, so that's it, y'all. That is it. That is the look. Y'all take these tips and tricks and use them in your own tutorial. I hope this was helpful. I really hope you learned something from this. If you have any more questions or concerns or confusion, leave them down in the comments and I will gladly reply because I love to help you all. Thank y'all so much for watching. I really hope you enjoyed today's tutorial. God knows I did. I hope you have a great new year. I hope you stay safe. I hope you work towards your goals, whatever those are. And I just pray that each and every one of y'all are safe, happy, and you're just enjoying life. Thank y'all so much for watching, and I'll catch y'all in the next video.